What's up guys, YST here and welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. And today, we've got a special guest in his tank top. We've got Odd One Gaming in the house. How's it going, bro?
How's it going? Doing good, doing good. I brought the guns, as somebody said. How are you doing?
He's bringing the guns to take down that new dungeon boss. Look at him. He's going to be the new Sleep Legendary Champion. But how's it going? What's been going on your channel and all of that good stuff?
Yeah, it's been, grinding. We know we've had some crazy period here with all the new content, lots of 10x's, all of the crazy stuff, doing Hydra stuff, doing everything, just keeping myself busy.
Yeah. Guys, before we actually get into this video, I just want to say that Odd One Gaming is really trying to get test server access, hopefully by the start of next year. And any single subscriber, if you guys watch my videos, enjoy my videos, you will enjoy Odd One Gaming's one, because he does Hydra Boss, Clan Boss, all of that good stuff. Make sure you go over there and smash that subscribe button. But in today's video, we will be talking about the new dungeon boss, and also how sleep champions in this game can really affect him, and the ones that we feel are going to shine the most when taking it into that new dungeon. So I guess the first thing we'll do is we'll talk about the actual boss itself, and then straight after that we'll break down our kind of top picks of champions that you might want to start investing in preparation for this boss starting to come out. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to pull up the actual boss itself. We'll just talk about the skills, how they're working, and why the sleep is going to be so impactful here. So basically on this skill here, I'll just move Odd One a little bit other way. There you go. You can come chill next to me for a little bit. There we go.
My big head.
Yeah. So on the Rest for the Wicked. So on this one, Al-Naemeh is the name of this boss, and he's immune to receiving all debuffs except sleep, and also immune to HP exchange effects, HP balancing effect, cooldowns, increase effects, turn meter reduction, and all of that good stuff. But while he's under the sleep, then that's when you can actually start to place those debuffs, and that is why it's so crucial to bring sleep into your team. And then the more debuffs that you rack up, the more damage you're going to be able to do, as there's actually a damage reduction for every less debuff that's on this boss. So in terms of this A1 here, or this first passive, what do you think about this one? Do you think it's pretty OP, or?
Honestly, yeah, the passive is pretty crazy, and I'm kind of happy that the fact that they're trying to implement something different and give a use to like the sleep debuff, because it's kind of one of the most useless ones in the game. It's like, I guess the other one that might be really bad was like the bomb one. How much did they try to make it viable? And like they slightly have some new, like some niches, but yeah, with this sleep debuff, it's a little bit tricky with the way it all works and all that, but still I like that they're trying to introduce this, like one way to use the sleep. Otherwise, like I cannot think of any other place in the game where I would use the sleep debuff apart from like arena in a certain situation.
Yeah, 100% I agree. Any single way that we can start to implement these debuffs in better ways and make them more valuable, I'm actually a big fan of in this game. But all right, let's head into passive number 2. So do you want to read this one out? I'm not sure if you can actually see it on my screen.
Yeah,
there,
I can see it. So the Dreamless Sleep, second passive, activates the slumber counter whenever a sleep debuff is placed on Al-Naemeh. I'm definitely going to butcher his name. The slumber counter disappears whenever a sleep debuff expires on the boss or is removed from him. Sleep debuffs are not removed from the boss when he... I'm not going to try to read his name. I'm just going to skip it. When he's attacked. So decreases that counter for... by 1 whenever he gets hit. When it reaches to 0, he removes the sleep and fills his turn meter by 50%. When a sleep debuff expires or is removed, he becomes immune to the sleep debuff. And basically the tricky thing is, and the most important thing from this one is the fact that every time you get a hit, it takes for 1 turn. And the thing that writes at the bottom, the duration of the slumber counter is 10 on stage 1, 5, 7 on stage 6, 15, and then 5 on stage 16, 25. So basically what this tells me is, because we're going to try to do the sleep tactic, we don't really want to bring multi-hitters in this one. People that have multi-hits in this type of scenario, but we might have no other choice than to bring them.
Yeah, 100%. Being able to have champions that like put debuffs up without actually breaking down that slumber count is going to be huge. So like maybe like a Dark Kill, for instance, when he just puts up those abilities there, or... even
Draco like this show,
even Draco Morph, or even champions like Tomb Lord that can place multiple debuffs but in one hit, so then you can rack up that debuff bar and make sure that in the future turns you're not getting smacked as hard from these other abilities. But yeah, so once again guys, sleep is the one thing that you're going to really need here. And if we just go into the last passive here, in the Sustenance, there we go. Whenever Al-Naemeh attacks, destroys the max HP of all targets by 10%, and whenever an enemy decreases Al-Naemeh's turn meter, destroys the max HP of the enemy by the same percentage. Now, when you're bringing in like sleep champions, right, and they've got turn meter manipulation effects, I believe there's only a few. I think people like Diabolus the Rare, for instance, and stuff like that. You just have to be wary that it's not just sleep that you guys have to bring in. You need to make sure you're bringing in healers. You're bringing in revive on death. You're bringing in these debuffers, because that synergy is what's going to bring this team together for you guys. So sleep is like the main component to sleep the boss, but then around that you're going to want to bring in all of these other champions to fulfill those roles, which we'll talk about maybe in a future video or something. But yeah, but once he's actually under that sleep, you can then get a restoration of that max HP. So once again, sleep being very vital. And in those turns, you can actually heal and restore that max HP that you lost from reducing the turn meter. Let's just say you brought in a cold heart, for instance. You'll be able to have a way of getting that back. So yeah,
that's true.
Loads of other ways. Now, I'm just going to briefly talk about the actual skills of the boss very briefly. So A1, we've got decreased speed and decreased accuracy. You want to make sure that you have resist auras or increased resistance. Could be really huge, because if you start to get mitigated from your debuffs, you're going to be in a trouble of pain, or even getting that decreased speed on. Other ability here, we've got a removing of all debuffs, so you just have to be wary of the Dune Tempest. So if you're racking up all those debuffs and he removes it, you will actually heal as well by attacking all enemies, and the damage of this skill inflicts decreases by each removed debuff. So this is one to be wary of.
Yeah, it's another reason to have many debuffs out there, not just for the damage reduction, to make this hit less.
And also, the amount healed is proportionate to the amount of destroyed max HP, so that's very, very tedious.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's scary, man. The final one, which is kind of the money scaling ability in the Feasting Swarm, has like an AoE ignore shield, block damage unkillable, and then places a sleep on himself because that ability smacks like a truck and he just gets tired from doing it. So yeah, there's loads of mechanics to it, but I do feel like over time we'll be able to come up with some fun compositions to take this dude down. So alright guys, we are now going to break down our top 5 champions each when referring to sleep. And it's not going to be, okay, you place a sleep so you're on the list. That's kind of not why we base this. We based it basically around champions that bring more utility than just the sleep. Whether that be debuffs, heals, turn meter manipulation, and so many of those things that we're factoring in. And then towards of our official list, or towards the end of it, we'll break down some honorable mentions of ones that maybe just might place the sleep, but not too much to go with their kits. So, do you want to start off here with your list of your number 1 there?
Yes, we're gonna start with the one that has eluded me for a long time, and my most wanted champion in the game, and that is Prince Kymar from the Demon Spawn faction.
Okay.
I mean, he's already a top tier legendary for several areas of the game. He's insane for the sake of arena, because he has that arena lead, first of all, like 30% arena. Then he has that sleep that's basically for arena. He removes the boss, puts people to sleep. That is insane. And for other areas of the game, using for speed running. However, if you think about his kit again, and for the sake of this boss, there's no buffs to remove from this boss, but he can put the boss to sleep. His aura is not gonna work, but at the same time he brings that A3 that basically boosts our turn meter and resets all of the cooldowns. That's pretty insane. Like if we manage to speed on this in a certain way, where I don't know, somebody does the sleep first, people do the nukes, then he comes with the sleep reset and do the nukes again. I feel like he's gonna make some interesting combinations, really interesting things in here.
I 100% agree, and this is where like I need more Kymars, man. Because
I need one. Give me one.
Oh, you haven't got one yet? Oh no.
No, he's my most wanted champion.
Oh yeah, you're saying. Oh no. Yeah, yes. Prince Kymar is definitely going to be an MVP, I think, because especially in those full auto teams, and if you've got a speed tune and we start to understand when the boss is taking the turns, and because right now, obviously, guys, we don't have access to play the dungeon, so we'd actually have to dive in, get a feel for it, and then we can start speed tuning these things, which I think will be possible. It will just take a bit of time. But,
exactly, and also the turn meter fill is like nothing happens to us. If you reduce the boss's turn meter, is the tricky part. But if you boost ours, that's good.
And he's also got a poison on the A1, which I think is pretty solid. Be able to rack up those debuffs to get the damage mitigation. So
yeah, that's true. If you build him to crit, because he has to crit in order to land those debuffs. Normally, if you build him for the sake of arena as a priority, he's not gonna have crit because you don't want crit in arena. But yeah, if you don't care that much about using him for arena or like him critting, like for the sake of top tier arena, then yeah, you would build him with 100% crit rate for sure to bring some poisons, because why not?
Yeah, 100%. All right, so the next one, well, the first one on my list is actually going to be one that I've always loved in this game. It's going to be Roxam. Now, he's never really had a place in the game where he shines the best or anything like that. But I always knew at some point this dude is going to want to pop out and start to become in so many people's teams. And he brings such a great kit for this boss, actually. Because we've got a way of enabling Veil or Perfect Veil for damage mitigation on himself. But he also places a 100% chance to stun on a 3-turn cooldown, which actually hits pretty hard from what I've been playtesting in the past. So very strong A2 here. But he also has a drop defense and a weaken debuff in the same ability, very similar to like a Dracomorph, but it's an actual hit, so it will kind of enable that slumber counter on the boss. Yeah. But to be able to have like all of this, like block debuffs, strengthens, continuous heals, perfect veils, we've got the sleeps, I shouldn't have said stun earlier, and then also the drop defense and weaken. I just think he's going to be a great champion, and he also has chances of filling his turn meter to enable him to come through and take those extra turns. So yeah, I think he's going to be one that we're going to see a lot in this boss for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, the only tricky thing, what I've noticed, had a look a bit himself, is like, I think he only places that sleep if he's not under perfect veil. That's the only tricky thing in that one, right?
Has a chance to place a sleep
when
on the target
without perfect veil.
Yeah, so I think the way that it's really hard to use this because the A1 actually procs the perfect veil at the chance.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tricky, I guess.
Yeah, you would start with the A2, that's for sure. Like as a starting sleep skill, that's definitely gonna be good, because I feel like this one's gonna be really tricky, and we might have to use 2 people or several people to bring sleep so we can find the perfect thing. But obviously, if you have no other option, he's perfect. He's straight up. If you haven't booked, 100% places that sleep. So that's definitely a good shout out. It's just that's the thing with sleep debuffs. They made so tricky in this game. That's like nobody has the perfect kit for this new boss. What from my first impression. Nobody has the perfect kit for him.
Yeah, I was just seeing that now. Like, to be honest, actually, I think I read this a little bit wrong before, because the way that I read it in a way where it's the sleep if he's under the veil or perfect veil. I thought it was the other way around.
And the problem is, if you look at the bottom, after he does that, he places perfect veil for 2 turns.
Yeah, so that's a bit of a tricky one, actually.
Yeah, it's like most of our people from our list is like, okay, they're good, but it's just gonna be like possibly 2-3 from all that we mentioned that are like, yes, they're gonna be OP. It's tricky, man.
Damn. Do you know what? That's actually really let me down. Oh no, I was so excited about this.
I'm sorry to break your bubble. I apologize.
Raid, please change it just for this boss. Switch it around or something.
Remove him. This boss, you cannot place perfect veil.
I still feel like just as a champion as a whole, I think he could still actually have some use though. Potentially.
And can be good because he can smack. Like, he can smack pretty hard, but it's like the way that his skill was tricky, nobody liked him so far. But for the sake of this boss, he can be a viable option.
Yeah. All right. Who's next on your list?
Next one, we're going to jump into the Undead Hordes. I'm going to mention somebody that was actually my first Void Legendary, and that's Siphi, the Lost Bride. So Siphi is so amazing, because the sleep that she brings for the sake, I'm sorry, you don't have her. So I don't have cards.
Just don't.
Yeah, so it's like, it's all about her A1. If it's booked, if the, if the boss has over 50% turn meter, she straight up sleeps the boss. So obviously we're gonna have to see what's the speed and what's happening there, how we have to speed on this. But you can always have her just keep doing that sleep, keep doing that sleep on the A1, and she's just perfect. Don't need any accuracy on her. You don't need anything like that. She also brings the lead of resist in all battles, like in case we need a little bit of extra resistance to resist, like you said earlier, the decreased speed and decreased accuracy. Then she brings a passive heal on the passive for herself and for like every ally whenever they get a turn. At the same time, if she attacks the boss with the A1, when he has under 50% turn meter, she also heals everyone. Then the A2's bonkers, increase speed, like everybody knows Siphi. She's just a beast. She's like I feel like she's the perfect champion for this new boss. I feel like she's definitely the one that's gonna find most playtime for the sake of this new boss, because she's just an amazing champion.
Yeah, I think this is a really good shout, actually. She's actually super OP for this boss. Now that I'm thinking about it, she's probably one of the best, right? Because having that chance on an A1, It's going to be insane. Now, guys, if you're not aware, there is actually, when the boss itself wakes up, there's that 1 turn delay where he's immune to sleep debuffs for 1 turn. So you need to have that way of sustaining. And that's where someone like Siphi is going to be able to come through and keep everything under control until that comes around. And then boom, Curse of Longing goes out and then they're back under sleep. So
Exactly. She's just a beast. This is one of those little tricky things that I'm like kind of iffy about. It's like the OP champions become even more OP for all areas of, like, for new areas of the game. It's like, come on, switch it up. Switch it up.
yeah, 100%. All right. Next one on my list is going to be Chaagur. Now, I'm not sure if he's going to be like 10 out of 10 for him, but he definitely screamed it for me anyway, because the boss on his A2 does remove all debuffs, and that's why I'm scared of this. But until I actually go in and play test it, and how many times is he proccing that A2 and the way his synergies work, I think he's still going to have a lot of use potentially, because he's got a very high chance to place a sleep on an A1. And for that alone, for this video, obviously we're talking about sleep. This is very, very strong. For a Void champion, we need that you can take this into all of the affinities and be able to take this down. So that's very strong. And also, he's got this quirky passive where if he places a poison, right, which lasts for 4 turns, he will actually instantly attack any enemy before they take a turn and place another sleep debuff. So I was just thinking of a synergy, maybe he wakes up, you're able to go through, sleep them again. But then with that one turn delay and the stripping on the A2, I'm not sure if it's going to be as impactful as I first thought. But away from that, he does do like a self kind of healing mechanic as well. When hitting enemies under poison, can heal himself. And I think the main thing would just be for that A1. It would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I feel like he's definitely gonna find a spot in this boss, because I mean, obviously we're gonna have to see how the boss prioritizes his skills. If he prioritizes the first one that decreases the turn meter and no, decreases the max. Actually, is that the passive? Yeah, the passive.
Yeah.
But if he prioritizes the decrease speed and decrease accuracy one and not the cleanse first, you could definitely work with this, because like you said, those poisons being on a 4-turn cooldown are massive. So having him a chance to go and do the A1 again, basically you would have like this. You would, let's say he starts with the A1, you get lucky, boom, the sleep lands straight up. You place all those debuffs, you smack him. He wakes up, he does the first A1, you still have the poison in there, then before he goes back to his passive, the poison takes, Chaagur can attack again, and he doesn't the cleanse. You get another turn of like smacking him, putting poisons, doing the other stuff. So he definitely is a good shout. And like you said, with being Void Affinity, you don't have to care about what affinity you're going to fight.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It really will come down to the turn order to see if he's going to be great, like you're just saying.
Exactly.
100%, but we'll see how it goes, guys. We'll see. All right, who's number 3 on your list?
Okay, number 3 on my list is somebody that's pretty new. I haven't tested, I haven't seen many videos on him, but he's in the Dark Elves Legendary, one of the new additions, Noct The Paralyzer.
I actually love this dude. He's so good. I was playing with him on a test server. I think he's one of the best champions out of the recent ones that just came out.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a... Honestly, I feel like he 100% got released for the sake of this boss. And I'm calling it right now, guys. He's going to be one of the next guaranteed champions.
Do you think so?
100%. Because if you think about it, before we heard about the boss, look at his A2 and you're like, oh yeah, attacks all enemies, has 100% chance of placing sleep and 2 poison debuffs. You're like, okay, why do I want to sleep and then poison? Because when the poison's sick, they wake up, they don't lose their turn. Doesn't make any sense, you know?
Yeah.
But because of this boss, you don't care, because the poisons will tick, the boss still wakes up, whatever, and he gets the additional other poisons whenever that sleep goes off. So I feel like he's 100% was built with that in mind. At the same time, he brings on his A3 ally protection, continuous heal, so he can bring, you know, some damage mitigation. Then on the passive, he brings some heal for the whole team. So I'm 100% sure that he was built for the sake of this new boss. Like
100%.
They had this new boss in head when they built
him.
When
I was first using him, I was using him in like Doom Tower, blowing up poisons for like poison explosion teams.
Yeah.
But for this boss in particular, guys, I think he's going to be MVP. Because do you know this heal here, this 3%, it's so crazy. Like, if you could stack so many poisons up, he's able to like consistently heal just by having this up.
Just look at his basic HP.
And if you, let's just say hypothetically, you stack him with 90k HP or something, that 1% on all of your other allies actually starts to become really impactful. And if I'm trying to think of the word here. So when you're trying to restore that your max HP that you've lost by reducing turn meter, this passive is going to be huge, and being able to heal those champions back up in that time that you're restoring the HP.
I even forgot the last part of the passive. Look up that again.
Yeah, the sleep while under ally protection.
Another sleep while under protection. It doesn't even say that it has to be his ally protection. So if you have like another one or whatever, that's insane.
This is huge as well. So if you guys are struggling to get decreased speed, decreased accuracy, and you don't want that on your allies, there's a great way to place a big version of a decreased accuracy on the A1. So.
And if you don't, if the people don't believe me that he was made for that,
Look
check
at
the
this.
passive.
Look at this.
Or dungeon.
It's nuts. This guy's gonna be definitely one to watch out for. I've been saying this. I was on a stream with Chosen, right? And he actually summoned him when he was going for Elva.
Nice.
So I was like, you're so lucky, man.
Yeah, I feel like they have you know, a history of doing stuff like this. The first example that pops in mind is Bivold. You know, Bivold was released before they fixed that thing of the
head of decay,
the decay head. So it's like he's definitely released with this in mind. But yeah.
All right. Next one on my list, I forgot his faction, but we'll find it. We'll find it.
Yeah.
He's the high elf, I think.
What's the name?
There he is. Thenasil. Now, this dude here has been slept on for so long. By myself, well, he's basically a sleep champion, so yes, he's sleeping everyone.
Yeah.
But he's got a sleep on A1, which is great. But on his O skin, he's actually got increased defense and heals all allies by 25% of this champion's max HP. So stacking with high HP, you're going to start to see a great return of this. Yeah. But then he also has it attacks all enemies, decreases the duration of all enemy buffs by 1 turn. But it's mainly the resist in dungeons by 70 to coincide with the sleep on A1. Now, what's the chance here? So we've got a 20, 30, 40, 50% chance to place a sleep, which I think is pretty substantial for an A1. We've got the loads of healing, increased defense. We've got AoEs of reducing buffs. And then this bit here kind of puts him on the list for me, because if you guys are struggling for that resistance and you want utility for sleep, look no further than a champion like this. He's going to be great.
Yeah, definitely good. And those heals, like you said, can be massive. Like I slept on this champion myself for a while, because it's like, you know, his kit is a little bit quirky. You cannot find the right place for him, but maybe he's actually going to shine in this new boss. That's a good shout for sure.
Yeah, I don't know, that aura is crazy, man. Is there much auras for resisting dungeons in this game that you can recall?
Honestly, I cannot think of anybody. I didn't even know that there were people that have resistant dungeons. I know there's accuracy in dungeons and speeds, but I never thought there was. I never knew that he has that, honestly.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Yeah, right. and that chance I didn't know goes up that much. I knew it was 15%. I was like, yeah, I'm not sure if it's enough. I didn't check exactly to see that it goes to 50.
Yeah. All right. Who's next on your list?
Okay, it seems like I keep mentioning the legendaries, but like, you know, it is what those are the best ones.
Everyone on my channel is gonna think, yo, why is he just getting the rubbish picks here?
No, it's like I'm just a dirty will. I'm not. I'm free to play. Those are the ones that came into my mind that, you know, bring the extra utility. So if you go into the Night Revenants, I was looking at Gaius the Gleeful. He was a fusion this year. He, you know, I'm not sure how much damage bombs are gonna do on this boss, but on the A2 he places asleep and then 2 bombs. And I was thinking like this, okay, if he places the bombs, the boss can come and cleanse it. But then I realized, oh wait, he has his A3 that detonates the bomb. Or you can bring someone else to put it up to detonate those bombs. Or you do a tactic maybe where you have him die and you have a revive on that. So he places that sleep and you have somebody puts revive on that, boss gets a turn, makes him die, and then he comes back again and does the same thing. So I feel like he could definitely have some play time in there. It's like, you know, he doesn't bring much else. He just brings 100% chance to sleep, obviously, unless he weak hits or gets 3%. And hopefully those bombs will do some decent damage, you know. That's what I'm thinking. See, when I'm saying
I was thinking the same thing, right? But I was gonna say, I'm not sure if we have to see how it works, because when he places the sleep, is it the sleep and then it's like, okay, you put the sleep up and now we put the bombs up? Like, I don't know how that mechanic works there, because the way that the boss works is you can't place the bomb debuff unless the sleep is up. So I need to see if when we go into it, will it allow you to place the sleep and follow by the bomb? If that makes sense.
That's true. I mean, it all depends how it's coded. But from what I've seen in Arena, it's always asleep and then the bombs are actually placed afterwards.
Yeah, usually when it's got this full stop here, it's usually kind of how that works. Yeah.
Exactly. And apart from that, it's like his passive. Oh yeah, again, his passive. That's why maybe bombs could be interesting. Every time he gets hit, he can place some more bombs in there. So, you know, he might actually be good as a sleep champion and damage dealer. So we've shown so far like maybe Chaagur as a DPS and Roxam, but mostly it seems like they're sleep support champs. Well, he could be one of the DPS options, and maybe most people have him, like I said, because he was a fusion this year.
Yeah, 100%. Great pick. All right, guys, we can't do this video without mentioning Conellia.
There it is.
This has been like the most comments I've had in a while, and can we solo Conellia? The highest floor. We're gonna have to wait and see, guys. Now, I'm not sure if it's gonna be actually it might. The only ability I'm scared of, right, is that one way it ignores everything.
Exactly.
But if she can survive that, it might be possible, because if you put her in a toxic set, high HP, high speed, it might be possible. But the way that I'm actually thinking to use this, guys, is not in that way. The way that I was thinking of doing it is, basically how this sleep works is you put the sleep up, you put it on the, let's just say your lead position, because that's kind of how it's coded in the way of the orders.
Yeah.
So you put it on your lead position, and they'll be able to consistently heal every single time. So let's just say you put your Tammy a manipulator in the lead position, right?
Yeah.
Hypothetically, like a cold heart or something. If she's putting the sleep on your cold heart in the time that her max HP is reduced, you can actually bypass that and fully heal her, restore her max HP. And I think this is going to be one of the best champions in terms of full healing with this revitalizing rest.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be trying to like find some teams around that. But she also does the AoE sleep, just placing it so it doesn't matter about affinities once again, which I think is going to be very, very cool. A1 just for some damage and a speed aura by 18%. Do I think she's going to be the best champion? I'm not too sure. But in terms of like loads of the players' accounts out there, to have a 100% chance to sleep, no matter the affinity, is going to be very, very strong, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And the thing is, like, you know, you've showed some amazing videos with her, especially the bomber ones.
Yeah.
But I've used, for example, Conellia for, you know, people that don't have all the other crazy champions, they don't have Umbrals, Kymar, stuff like that. I used her for some people for the sake of arena, you know. Obviously now with the stone skin meta, she's not as good. But if you have her built for sake of arena, like, you know, arbiter into her to put everybody to sleep, because like you said, it's a sleep, you maybe already have her built fast and with high accuracy, so she could be used maybe the same build for the sake of arena and for the sake of this boss. So she's definitely, like, I'm 100%. I had her on my list, but obviously I wanted to leave her for you because I know you've done more stuff with her.
Yes, it's gonna be a weird one, because you get a lot of value out of this sleep, right? But if you've got block debuffs in your team, you're gonna lose the value of this sleep here as well. So, because if block debuffs is up, obviously you can't place the sleep on your ally because they got block debuffs up. So that'll be one downside. But apart from that, I think she's going to be really, really great.
Yeah, she's definitely going to be one of the good ones. That's true.
So who have you got next on your list?
Okay, so next on my list is going to be, obviously, because we're going towards the bottom of the list, it's somebody that might not be as crazy, but can bring some utility. If you go into the Ogrins, there's somebody that's one of the most useless epics, but maybe now he's going to be good, and that's Cagebreaker.
Okay.
So he's one that brings, on his A2, he brings a 4-hitter with a chance of placing sleep. He's not going to be the best, because if he places the sleep on the first one, then he straight up does 3 techs on the boss. If we're talking for the top level, he's not gonna be good. But for the sake of progressing this boss, because, like, I mean, so far we talked about like the best, stage 25, whatever. Maybe some people need some other options. So if you have him, he's definitely gonna help for progression. Because apart from that, he brings on the A1 and decreased defense. So that's what I would use him for. Because like the decreasing the max HP, I'm not sure we really care about from his A3. He's definitely not going to kill the boss, and if he kills, you don't care about the extra turn. So I think you would just have him with the A1 to put the decreased defense, and with the 4-hitter to do the sleep, and I guess that's the utility that he could bring for the sake of this boss. Like I said, I see him more as a progression one, for example, you know?
Yeah, I'd agree, because if you crack that sleep on the first hit and then you're breaking that slumber counter straight away, you're going to be like, for God's sake, he's back awake again already. So, yeah it's a really high chance. Yeah, it's a really high chance to sleep, but in terms of that slumber counter, I'm a bit scared.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like he's better than maybe some of the other ones that are in there, because he brings that decreased defense on day one. That's the only other thing I see him doing, you know?
Yeah. Like, he's a good shout. When I was looking for sleep champions, I thought that's a really high chance to sleep, but it's just that slumber counter is going to be a little bit scary there. Yeah. All right, so the final one on my official list is going to be from the Undead Hordes, I believe. Please don't get it wrong. I'm so bad at factions. Please, there he is. Zelotah.
There we go.
Now, apart from having his Iron Man chest, he's like stole it from Tony Stark. He's actually a really great champion for this, because we've got sleeps on A1 with Hypnotic Gaze. We then have a shield and continuous heal for trying to keep your team sustained, right? I think this is going to be very strong as well. Because continuous heal is actually going to be great against this boss. And then we also have attacks all enemies with a high chance of placing that sleep again. So 2 sleep abilities. We then got shield and continuous heals. And I wish this was dungeons, but it's arena battles.
Yeah.
But if you're just talking about pure sleep and sustain, I think he's going to be used by so many players, including myself, actually. I'm actually going to go ahead and max up this champion. I think he's going to be great.
Yeah, I didn't know that he actually had sleep on 2 skills. I remember that he had sleep on one of the skills, but I forgot he actually has on A1 and A3. Plus the shields with, again, from his max HP and heals. He's definitely going to be another one of those really, really solid champions. And obviously a little bit easier to get because he's an epic compared to all the other legendaries that I said.
I would say the only downside is a 75% chance unless they're under a debuff.
Yeah.
If they are under any debuffs, he's able to place that 100%. And that sleep on A1, just adding to that utility. So if this one doesn't proc, you've got an extra chance to proc it with this one. So if you so if your account doesn't allow you to bring in multiple sleep champions, you now have a champion that has a chance to place it on 2 separate skills, and that's pretty unique in this game for sleep debuffs. So
yeah, you know how you could combine this. You can combine something like I said, I have a strong feeling that we're gonna have to have 2 sleep champions in there. Make it nice. You can have a combination of like Zelotah and Gaius the Gleeful. Gaius does the first one, Zelotah does the heal. The boss, I told you, gets his 1 turn. He still has the bombs there, and then boom, Zelotah does the second one. Yeah, because he's gonna have 100% on his A3. So with the right speed tuning and stuff, I'm quite sure we're gonna find ideas. But yeah, definitely a really, really good epic for the sake of this one.
Really, really strong. Do you know what? I think he's probably one of the best in terms of epics for this. Maybe even some of the legendaries like this. Because he's bringing in so much, like that continuous heal is actually going to be very, very strong. So yeah, guys, I think if you've got a Zelotah, definitely probably one you want to look out for. But
yeah, that's true.
All right, so guys, that was our official top 10 for our list, but we do have some honorable mentions here. So would you like to start off with a small list of ones that didn't quite make your top 5, but you feel like they deserve a little mention here today?
Yeah, I mean, maybe we're not going to go and click through everything, but it's like, we have Jamarsa, or DJ Marsha, as I call her, from the Barbarians. She has it on the A1, not a crazy chance, but she can help you with that A2 a little bit for like a heal, and then with the revive that she has on the A3, plus that passive that can give you a reflex. But for the sake of, this is like more progression. For the sake of speed tuning, she's not going to be good because you don't know how her reflex procs. So I would not suggest her for that. Then there's like somebody like a Harvest Jack that brings only the sleep, for example, on his A2, like as another legendary. So maybe, again, for the sake of progression, if you have no other option, you could use him in a bolster set or shield set or whatever to try and keep yourself alive. Yeah, I think. Oh, and there's another 2 things that I was thinking, like some combinations of either day set, like if you have no other good sleep champions, you could use day set. It's 25% chance, and it does not require accuracy, so you can use it on, I don't know, nukers if you have damage day set that you can farm from the dragon. Or one other thing that I was thinking, obviously we're gonna test all of this, is a combination of ally attack / counter attack with sleep A1 champions. So that might be, we have to think about all the possibilities that we have in order to try and tackle this boss, because there's very few good sleep champions in this game. So we might have to rely on the sleep A1s with ally attacks, counter attacks,
Yeah, 100%. In terms of the other stuff, guys, obviously there is loads of champions in this game that can do sleep. There's people like even Death Knight can do a sleep. There's people like in the Lizardman, I believe there's one called Muck Stalker. I think he was a pretty cool champion. This dude, I think he does a sleep. Yeah, so he's got a chance to just place a sleep if they've got no active buffs, continuous heals on himself and stuff like that. And then my other honorable mention will probably be somebody like a seer. Look, this is what happens when you don't have a seer for so long, you forget where she's from. She's an orc. There we go.
Orc.
This is what happens, because I never had a seer for 3 years. But here we go. So Karma Burn, replacing that sleep, and I was thinking of maybe a tanky one. So if you got one already for dungeons and stuff, maybe bring one just for tankiness, because she does have resist in all battles by 40. She does place a weaken, so that doesn't class as a hit, and also fills the crit rate. So I feel like that's cool for your other champions if you can't get crit capped. And then of course placing that sleep, but then you get that mitigation of losing your buffs. So I'm not sure if I highly recommend using the Karma Burn, because if that procs and you lose all of your buffs and your heals, it's not really going to be a good time for you. But in terms of sleep, technically, yes, she's a really good champion for it.
I mean, she can still be good because if you think about it, just maybe we would speed tune it where, like you said, if she's tanky, she doesn't have to be slow. She can be fast.
Yeah.
And you can have another. You only need 10 buffs in total on your team for her to have a 100% chance to sleep. So if you have somebody in the shield set, and somebody does whatever other debuff, she does that sleep, and then you have your other supports go after her.
Yeah.
You don't need her to be the fastest. So that's definitely a really good shout.
Yeah.
Maybe even people will use the the basic one, the first one that they have. If they have a slower support after that, like you like Skytouch Shaman, bring her that slower that puts the revives on that if you have to,
Skytouch Shaman is gonna be MVP for this boss, I'm telling you. That epic champion. Obviously, guys, it is a sleep one, but please, if you've got a Skytouch Shaman, where is she? Knight's Rev, right?
Barbarians.
No, Barbarians. Oh, I forgot. She's got no clothes on. I'm so bad at I'm so bad at factions. This champion right here will change any of you. I've been screaming this for a year, Odd One. I'm not sure about you, yeah. But I've been telling everybody, Skytouch Shaman is one of the best, probably the best epic healer in this game, period. Like, the way that this passive works, every single time she takes a turn, it doesn't matter if she's debuffed, feared, decreased speed, decreased accuracy, stunned. If she takes a turn, she's gonna heal your whole team every single time. And for this boss in particular, to restore your max HP, Skytouch Shaman has to be in that team. Because we've got Revive on Deaths, we've got block debuffs, we've got so much utility in this kit. So, and she doesn't place a lot of hits to activate that slumber counter, making her one of the best champions for this. But
plus, if you don't have block, if after the block debuffs goes off, she might fear herself, so she's gonna miss her turn on day one,
What's this? We got some events going on. Oh, it's this stuff. Oh
yeah.
All right, just for you, Odd One, I'm gonna summon one shard. We're gonna try and get an Archbishop.
Okay, come on, Bishop.
That's what happens, guys. But yo,
Bishop.
Odd One Gaming, thank you so much for coming on the channel today. I appreciate
Thank you
very
much for having me.
Anything you want to say here before we wrap things up?
I'm just really happy that we could do this again. I think you were actually the first person I ever collabed with, like apart from Ivy, obviously that's my wife, but you're the first one I collabed with. So I'm glad that we got the chance to do this again, and I really appreciate all the support. And guys, make sure you keep supporting him. He's an amazing human being. Show him all the love.
We've got the Genzen mask just for you. Look at that.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah, guys.
I got the guns.
He's got the guns and the mask. Yeah, guys.
Yes, there we go.
If you did enjoy today's video, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Head over to Odd One Gaming's channel. Everything will be in the pinned comment and in the description below. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.